welcome to a brand new episode of the Woolly Thistle Shopcast. I'm Corrine, your host and owner of the Woolly Thistle, and I'm here with Maggie, my co-host and marketing manager extraordinaire.
Hello.
And all kinds of things, not just that. And we're here to touch base with you. We've got a very, very full episode, but before that, I hope you're all doing well and enjoying this summer weather if you're in the Northern Hemisphere. And I hope you're having a great winter down in Australia and New Zealand and all those places if you're having winter. Ramble, get right out of the game. How are you, Maggie?
I'm good.
Yeah?
I'm
What's
good.
new with you?
What's new with me? I don't know.
Knitting?
Lots of knitting. Went down to my sister's.
Oh, nice. Yeah, for
took
July 4th.
a few days off for July 4th
Yeah.
and went down to my sister's, and that was nice. It was, even though we're in New Hampshire here, and she's just down in Connecticut, which is, like 200 miles? It's not far at all. It felt hotter.
Yeah, I'm sure it does.
Especially, we've been having amazing weather lately.
It's been gorgeous.
I know we need rain. I don't care.
Yeah, no, it's beautiful blue skies, and the grass is actually really green and lush.
Yeah.
And it's not too hot, and it's not humid.
And you get that nice cool breeze in the evening. It's just been wonderful.
Yeah, it's July, and it's gorgeous. It's like August at night where it cools right off.
Yeah.
So I'm wearing wool today, just to say.
I love this one. That was one I always wanted to knit, and I just haven't done it yet.
Yeah. So, but we'll
on
talk
the
more
list.
about that.
Yeah.
Yeah, so you had a nice trip to your sisters?
I did. How are you doing?
I'm great. I'm pretty good. There is big news in my life, which I should probably just address, and then it's done.
Sneaking it out a little.
Yeah, on Instagram, if you're there, I've been sneaking out a couple of pictures of my new house, which I moved into the beginning of June, because my husband and I have parted ways, which is very sad, but it's all good. It's for the best. And so we actually had owned this house for many years and had rented it out, and the tenants moved out, and I have moved in, and I love it. I love this place. It's old. It's very old. It's 200 years old, and it's certainly got its problems, but it's giving me something to really enjoy and focus on. So yes, I've been putting a couple of pictures on Instagram, so if you haven't seen those, go check them out.
Your kitchen looks amazing.
It's really, really old, but it's lovely. It's my favorite part of the house.
Yeah.
And it's lovely. It's lovely. And there's an old fireplace that was all bricked over. And my hope is to get a wood burning stove in there at some point. But the list is long and endless. So
with any house.
I'm
sure with an older house.
Yeah, and it's got a butler's pantry. It's got an outhouse attached to the back of the house, which is really funny. It's got an old well that I need to fill in.
Is the old outhouse, can you tell that it's an old outhouse? Or do you just know it was?
No, you can tell. There's still a board with little circles cut out of it. That's where you would sit, I guess.
I love that little bit of history.
I know.
Our house was built in 1950, and it has a bomb shelter.
Yeah.
Which I would never want to spend any extended.
Do you bring your stash down there to keep it safe?
No, because it's mostly like cinder block, but there is like a little toilet in there.
Oh my gosh.
And I've told, especially when we first moved in and the kids were younger, I'm like, nobody ever used that. It just vents out. It's very simple.
Yeah. That's all you need if you're...
But I love that little bit of, it marks that moment in history.
Yeah, exactly. So I don't know how old the outhouse part is, but it's there. The door is shut. It'll be good for storing stuff, I guess.
Yeah.
But
That's what we do. The bomb shelter has sleds and Christmas trees.
Exactly. There's also a little tiny room off the dining room, which used to be the kitchen, I would say.
Okay.
And my friend Amber was saying that would be the sick room, where you shove Granny when she has COVID kind of thing. It's just a tiny little room with a window, and that's where, your sick elderly grandparent would probably hang out to be part of the family, but also shut away. So that's now a pantry full of cans and things like that. So anyway, it's a really fun project. It's going to take me the rest of my life probably, but it's great. So life goes on, life changes. And it's just what it is. So I'm really grateful, though, that I have the Woolly Thistle and my friends here and out there. So thanks for all your well wishes. I really appreciate it. And life goes on. Yeah.
Well, good.
So that's what's going on with me. And then let's talk about this episode, because we have lots of segments. We always say we've got a very full episode, and we do, but this is bursting at the seams.
Yeah.
So it's a good
If
good
you don't
thing.
already have a cup of something and you're knitting, pause, go
Yeah,
grab it.
and maybe plan to watch it over a couple of, I know people do that, they watch it over a few days, because we have a very special segment this time with Jean Flores, who spent 3 weeks on Fair Isle doing a knitting retreat residency thing all by herself out there. There's a lovely place that you can rent for just such a thing, and she has put together a really amazing, lovely video from Fair Isle. So we have that for you, and she'll tell you all about it.
Yeah.
We have a new segment from Emma. What's Emma telling us today?
Emma is talking about sock knitting.
Oh, good. Perfect.
Perfect timing. She's talking about sock knitting, and she also gives us an update on her hap.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Yes. And Emma, I will be watching. I just didn't get to see it before we recorded. And I had an interview with Denise, who is Earthtones girl, and we're popping that in. I love Denise. It's her second time on the Shopcast, and she is a sock knitting queen, and she has a lot of free videos on YouTube. So if you are sock curious, or you have questions, or you're brand new, we always recommend you check out her YouTube. So we have an interview with her, and then Kim of Knitting Yoga is going to take us out with a lovely fairly short little video this time, talking about both sides of your brain, and so that'll be good too. And then, of course, there's all us and our natterings and what's new in the shop and what we're knitting on. So maybe we should just get right into it.
I think we need to just jump in.
But before we do, let's announce the winner. And Maggie, the tradition is that you do that these days.
All right. So our first winner of the day is Amy Williams, and she says, OMG, such a fun podcast with so many temptations. The Junction yarns look fabulous. Can't wait. Loved the spinning demo. I've so far resisted the temptation to try spinning, as my yarn stash is so large. I can't imagine adding a fiber stash. I picked up a skein of Tunis yarn at a fiber fest last weekend, and looking forward to trying it out. Yeah. So congratulations, Amy. If you can email us at info@thewoollythistle, put prize winner in all caps, and we will get your prize out to you.
And when you put it all in caps, you stick out, and we get to get you that thing off to you sooner. So yeah, okay, great. Well, congratulations, Amy. I like Tunis wool. She picked up a skein of Tunis yarn. I wonder whose yarn that is. I'd love to know. That's very interesting. So Maggie, what are you wearing today?
So last episode, I talked about the top that my sister crocheted for me.
It's lovely.
And it was funny because when I got to Connecticut, she's like, I was just watching, and what do you mean you won't wear the top? So here I am. And it's really cute.
It really, really is. It's
I did
lovely.
put a colorful, as you can see, tank top underneath.
Yes.
And I'm very pale.
What is it? Is it crocheted with cotton?
It's crocheted with a mercerized cotton.
What does that mean, mercerized?
I don't know what they do when they mercerize it. It's sort of a treatment, but you can tell it's actually a really shiny.
Yeah, I can see the sheen on
and,
it. It's beautiful.
It's really pretty.
Yeah.
And
does Marie do a lot of crochet?
A fair amount. A fair amount. Yeah. Crochet, like for both of us, I know my mom was an amazing crocheter.
Oh, yeah?
She used to do the big lace tablecloths.
Oh, wow. Do you have any of those?
We do have some of them.
Yeah.
She also liked to do like Barbie dolls.
Oh.
Where she got all these patterns from, I think, Annie's attic, and they had like Southern Belle dresses and all the little pieces around it. And so we have some of those too.
Yeah.
But yeah, she loved to crochet. So that was sort of like our first love.
Yeah.
She knit too. I can remember my mom knit us some sweaters as kids.
Yeah.
I don't know where those went.
Yeah.
I think she passed them on to
probably
cousins, and they're just gone.
Yeah.
But yeah, so Marie and I both crochet.
So this is very lovely. Well done, Marie. It's gorgeous.
It is. It fits really nice. It's quite cozy.
Yeah, and it's flowy and cool looking.
It is, yeah.
Yeah. Well, in total contrast to that, I'm wearing wool on this promising a hot day, but this morning it was very chilly and I wasn't planning to wear it, but then I dug it out because this is the one I want to compare my next whip to in terms of size, and I just ended up throwing it on. So this is my...
Well, and it's an easy enough piece that when it gets warmer,
I'll just
you
take it off.
Yeah.
Exactly. It's a sleeveless vest by Wilma Malcolmson. And what was it called again?
The seaweed slipover.
Seaweed slipover, and it's in Jameson Spindrift, which we don't carry at the moment, but really lovely knit in the round, and then a little steek in the neck and sleeves, which you cut and then apply the border. So yeah, I love it. I feel cozy and I feel happy that I'm in wool. And it's not too hot yet, so that works. All right, so let's see what else. Do you have any FOs?
Yes.
Let's hear it.
It's been quite a week. So, I guess 2 weeks. So I finished a little bear.
Oh, look at his little face.
No, his hat keeps falling off, but I just used a variety of scraps from at home, so I don't really know.
Oh, he's so cute. Look at his ears.
So he does. So it's a Susan B. Anderson pattern. It's her most recent bear pattern.
Aww.
He's adorable. His clothes do come off, and
I love his clothes. Over here, this way.
You want to put his...
No, you do it. It's just too cute.
He is. So the pattern comes with 2 sweater patterns and the shorts and all the pieces.
Where did you find the buttons?
The buttons. I just had them in my stash.
Oh, well
I had a button jar, and so
how adorable!
I know, the cardigan kills me.
I love it.
Yeah, he's just adorable.
Yeah,
and I made him for Tina's daughter here in the shop. She was talking to Tina about, you know, good knitters, talented knitters that she knows, and somehow they said my name, and so I'm like, well, now I need to go and knit her a toy.
Smart kid.
Accurate response to. So I finished him. It's nice to go scrap diving and just pull out balls.
Yeah, let me see.
Little balls of yarn
and
making his little sweaters. Like, they're just adorable.
I love the buttons.
What's really funny is my oldest is 19, and she had such strong opinions about what colors his sweaters should be. And then she was like, so why are you giving him away again?
Yeah, really.
So I think I'm going to end up knitting a second one to just have at home. I know.
He's got a tail.
He does. He has a tail.
Have you named him?
I didn't, because I figured Tina's daughter should name him.
Yes, absolutely gorgeous. Even color work on his sweater.
Susan, I've been obsessed with Susan B. Anderson's patterns for years, like many people.
Yes.
So just so fun.
Very cute. Very, very cute.
So that's one FO. And then I did finish my Irene socks.
Gorgeous. I just love that color as well.
I love this color.
Who's the designer of these?
So these are from Tracie Millar of the Grocery Girls.
Hi, Tracie.
I loved this pattern. I will definitely knit these again. These I knit them on. You can hold. I knit on 72 inches, which I'm normally a 64 inch. But since the
yarn was thin.
Yeah, the CoopKnits is a light fingering. I didn't want them to be too small, so they fit perfect. With a thicker yarn, I might probably just do the 64.
Yep.
So I'll test that out sometime.
Very pretty. Very pretty. Very soft too.
They are very soft. Yeah. And then I have a half FO.
Half FO?
Half FO. I finished one of my One More Step socks.
Gorgeous.
In the Exmoor.
How did you like knitting with this?
I love Exmoor.
That was my first time. Have you washed it yet?
No, not yet.
No, I can feel that.
Yeah.
It's softened.
So it does definitely still feel a little...
And whose pattern is this?
So that is Denise DeSantis' most recent pattern.
Yeah, she talks a little bit about it in our interview. And I just happen to have here, Maggie, because you had loaded this up earlier. Yeah. These are all the colors that Exmoor sock yarn comes in. So that's what you knitted yours in. I love that mauve.
And what color is that? It's Bibblebug.
Bibblebug. Best name ever.
It is.
So yes, we have a fair supply right now of all the colors. So if you're interested, because our sock cal starts today, sprint. So you're out of time.
Sprint. So I'm hoping. So we're recording on Monday. I'm hoping by Friday I will have the second one of these done, and I can start another pair of socks.
Have you decided what you're going to knit?
Yes. So I have some Snowdonia that was from my bag, and we have a lovely customer who's also a designer. Her name is Jackie Perota. of JP Fiber Arts, and she sent me the bandin pattern.
Oh, wow.
She's like, because I mentioned I was looking for a pattern, so I'm probably going to knit those.
Oh, you'll need to put a picture up there.
We will put a picture up there.
I am still undecided, but it is only Monday. I will have decided and be ready to knit.
Yeah.
By Friday. I need to spend some time.
You've got some great sock yarn choices.
I do, don't I? And some beautiful designs out there. Well, do you have any, so that was your half FO. Do you have any other whips?
I have my vanilla fluff. So I don't know if we want to talk about what you're working on before we work on the...
Sure. I'm still knitting away slowly. Also, thank you for your comments and suggestions for the sore thumbs. Really good. Apparently gamers' thumbs can get the same sort of thing. And so there's exercises and things you can do.
Nice.
So I'm going to work on that. So it's been slow going, but isn't this adorable? So this is going to be a romper for a baby, obviously not me. And it's just so clever. I love this designer. I'll put her name there. This is the second thing I've knitted from her. And there's going to be 2 little buttons. And then adorable. It's going to be, you know, there'll be buttons down here.
Oh my goodness.
It's lovely. And she designed it to be in garter stitch, which I didn't want to do in the round. I'm much happier doing a moss stitch. So that's what I did. And I love it. I'm really enjoying it. It's pretty interesting up at the top, and then you get to go in the round and just increase a little bit that little A-line shape to fit the diaper. And this is Rowan Felted Tweed, which we have a little bit left of.
Yeah.
Don't think we're planning to restock it. And it's just, but it's a great yarn from Rowan. It's a British yarn, and or a British yarn company.
It's so cute.
Yeah, it really is, isn't it? So I love that green. I know, it's perfect, and I'm just enjoying working on that. So maybe I'll have that finished by next time. I should do, and then the swatch continues a little bit, and I went up a needle size. I just soaked it last night, so you can see where the cream or where the natural color is. That's where I changed needle size, because I was too tight for gauge down here, and I think now I have gauge by going up 1 needle size. Yeah, so you can see on the back here where I've just carried the yarn. It's like a giant I-cord when you do that, kind of sorta. So yes, I think I've got my needle size, and this of course is Marie Wallen's Keris. I'm knitting a swatch for, and in her British Breeds yarn, which is absolutely luxurious to knit with.
Nice.
Yes, and I just love the color work effect on it.
It's so pretty.
It's so pretty.
There were some great ideas in the comments last time about what you can do with your swatch, other than wearing a necklace, which I still think should be an option.
Yeah.
But somebody, I remember one of the comments that really struck me was they use it to line pockets. Like, so if you ever make a cardigan that has a pocket, you save the swatch and put that inside the pocket.
Oh my God, that's a great idea.
Isn't that great?
Yes, because that would be such good interest. And now I have a purpose other than just,
Yeah.
I think I know where I'm going to put that.
Oh, good.
I think I have a plan. Thank you for that idea. That's a brilliant idea.
I don't remember who said it, but...
Well, thank you anyway.
Yeah.
Yes, so that's all I've been knitting on. I've got my hap still working away on those very long stitches, but I really do have to take it easy. So as soon as I feel things getting painful, I have to stop and, you know, help it get better. I do want to look at looms. I haven't got there yet either. You know, I have a new house and things are busy, so I'm just sort of, you know, there's no rush. I'll get there and let my hands heal a little bit. Yeah.
That's a good plan.
It's a good plan. Okay, so where are we?
Well, here, why don't we talk about my vanilla fluff? So I brought my vanilla fluff here.
Because we have a sweater cal coming up soon too, and I'm sure we'll talk about it.
I'm going to move her to the middle.
Go ahead. But I just want to remind folks that the vanilla sweater and the Victory cardigan and the vanilla fluff are all really good beginner garment knitting projects. So anyway.
And we have courses to go with them. So if you are a beginner, first time, or just a beginner,
or need a refresher,
those
pretty much hold your hand through it. Yeah.
So
over
the weekend, I did the split hem. So it's curling up a little. We get this in email a lot. It will curl after you first knit it. After you block it, it'll flatten right out. No worries.
And you can help it flatten right out by just putting a little weight on there too. I have nice old pebbles that I brought over from Scotland, as you do.
Yeah.
And I put them down the bottom, and that helps things lay flat.
Yeah.
You could just pin it down too.
Yeah. So I finished the split hem and started the sleeves. And
Gorgeous.
I got some shorty circulars. I don't know if you can see that.
You like them, don't you?
Oh my gosh, I love them so much.
You just zoom. No magic loop.
No magic loop. No more magic loop.
Yep.
Although I'm doing my socks magic loop, but I tend to go back and forth. I'll use anything for socks.
Yeah.
But I love them. I love them so much. You've got the 3-inch tips.
So which Chogu set is that?
So this is the blue set,
right,
which is sizes 4 through 8, I think.
Okay.
And yeah, I love them. I even I was knitting on it at my sister's house and had her try them too. Because with the 3-inch tips, I feel like you can really
they feel long enough.
Yeah.
For what you because I always worry about
you want to try, like I think we can definitely take her off.
Shall we?
Yeah.
All right.
Because I'm surprised how much I genuinely really like that I can get a good grip on them.
Oh, it first of all, yes, it's a whole new strange feeling.
But there's enough of the needle there that you don't feel like you're just using.
You can feel it in the palm of your hand, which is nice, and I'm not having to hold my pinkies.
Right.
So So when you have those 9-inch sock needles, how long are those tips? Do you know?
I think those tips might be
2.5.
They might be 2.5 inches. And the shorties does come with a set of, you can either use the 2-inch tips or the 3-inch tips. I have the 3-inch tips on these. As I go smaller down the sleeve, I might need to switch either the cord length to a shorter one or the needle tip.
Yeah.
But you have some variety there in what you can do.
Well, that is quite nice.
Isn't it?
It's nice to not have to magic loop, for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. Lovely. Well done.
Yeah.
Nice. It's looking so nice and fluffy.
It is, and it fits perfect. It was just a little too hot to put her on today.
Yeah, you were knitting in some hot weather, I saw.
I was. It didn't bother me at all. I kind of kept her over to the side.
Yeah.
So she wasn't on my lap because mohair, a little sticky.
Mohair.
A little sticky when it's hot out. But no, I love it.
I do too. I think she looks great. This is going to look so lovely on you.
Yeah.
Yep.
I'm excited for her.
Yeah, I mean, sweater knitting is awesome. Even in the summer, like you said, you can hold her over here and they'll be all up in your lap.
Especially now with the sleeve, I'm just sort of doing that and going
Find a
around.
shady spot in the garden.
Yeah.
It doesn't get much better than that. When does our sweater cal start?
Our sweater cal starts August 19th.
Right. So when this goes out, probably a month from now. Yeah. And we are starting to roll out some kits in preparation. So stay tuned to hear about that. All right. We are going to take a break from us and go visit Jean, who brings us all to Shetland, to Fair Isle with her. It's an absolutely wonderful video. So do settle in, get your knitting on and enjoy. And we will see you back here on the other side where we have Emma and an interview with Denise, who's Earthtones girl. And also we have to show you what's new in the shop. So we'll see you in just a bit.
Hey there, Thistlers. I'm Jean Flores. Besides being an avid knitter, I'm also a weaver. And about 3 years ago, I put in a proposal to the Fair Isle studio on Fair Isle to concentrate on my tapestry weaving and watercolors. And then COVID happened about 2 weeks before I was supposed to leave. So over the couple of years that followed that, I lost interest in the tapestry weaving. And when it finally came time to go this past May, I knew that the tapestry weaving supplies were just going to be too heavy for the small amount of weight that you're allowed on the little flight from Shetland to Fair Isle. So I decided to just bring some knitting, which seems appropriate. Fair Isle knitting on Fair Isle seems appropriate. So I had an amazing trip. It was way more than I ever thought it was going to be, mostly due to the people that I met. Our sweet Rachel, that we all know from the Shopcasts and her Fair Isle Through the Lens. I made a new friend on Bresse, Fiona, who I met through a mutual weaving friend. And it just, you'll see in the video. So I hope you enjoy coming along. And it was kind of hard to fit a whole month into 15 minutes, but I did my best. I hope you enjoy. Bye-bye. I landed in Edinburgh on May 2nd, early in the morning. Took a 2.5 hour train ride up the coast to Aberdeen for my Northlink ferry ride that was leaving that evening. My cabin was really nice. It was a premier cabin. I did upgrade to it so that I could have a window that faced out to the sea. And mainly I did it for the Magnus Lounge, which is a really quiet place. This is it here. There was always fresh fruits available, snacks, different beverages. You got 2 alcohol drinks for free. And it was just a nice place to have dinner and to just kind of hang out when you weren't in your room. It even had its own bathrooms, so you didn't have to go find them out on the rest of the ship. So it was pretty late in the evening. I woke up at 4:30 in the morning to see Fair Isle passing by, and I was so excited to see her and know that I was going to be there just a few short hours later. It was a beautiful sight to see. So as soon as we got into Lerwick, I ran across the street to Jameson and Smith. Just run across the street, up this parking lot, up this stairway, and there she is. I just needed a few skeins of yarn to work on the project that I was going to knit on, that I'll show you a little later, that I was going to knit while I was at Fair Isle. I didn't have enough room in my luggage or weight allowance to take any more, but don't you worry, I stopped back after. So this is the little plane we took, and it's just a little 25-minute ride from Tingwall Airport, which is just north of Lerwick. And there's Fair Isle. And we kind of go down to the south a little and swing back around and come up it. It just depending on which way the wind is blowing, which way they come in and land or take off. So just coming into Fair Isle right now. Super excited at this point. You can see the houses that are down on the south end of the island. There are no homes on the north end. They're all down on the south end, like about halfway and further south. You can see the cliffs, and you can see just how small Fair Isle is. It is about 3 miles long by a mile and a half at its widest. And you can see you're nowhere are you very far from the sea. So here we are coming in for the landing, and I'll be back when I'm at the studio. I'll take you on the tour. So this is the porch. We walk right into the living room area. The fireplace run by coal. All the directions are in this book. Lots of books to read and puzzles and things that other people have left. And here's the kitchen. People have left a few groceries, so there's some stuff. I brought provisions from the boat. This is the fridge and the freezer. There are groceries down there. And there are groceries in here. So the shop opens in a little while, so I got lucky today that it's going to be open. And then back here, I love how they left the old croft wall. So back here's the bathroom. It's quite nice. Nice big shower. And then this is the bedroom. And I've already started unpacking. It's quite nice. Views out the window. Okay, and so this is the studio. Amazing. What an amazing place. What an amazing place. took me almost a week to get settled in and accustomed to the time change and everything. So I just pretty much stuck around the south part of the island, around the studio. I was pretty cold the first couple of nights until our sweet Rachel came and showed me how to build a proper coal fire that would stay lit and wouldn't burn out before I even got warm. And then right after she did that, the storage heaters that are run by the windmills came on, and I wasn't cold again. I had a lot of fun searching all around the southern part of the island. I wasn't far from the South Lighthouse. I climbed up Malcolm's Head, which is quite a climb, and happened upon this mama having her twins. It was so amazing to see that I turned the data on my phone for a minute to call my husband in the States to tell him what I had just witnessed. It was amazing. Is there a cuter resident on Fair Isle than the puffins? Maybe the lambs. At the end of this video, you'll see a clip of the lamb races, as I called them, that I watched outside of my window each evening. Gave me a lot of joy. But the puffins, hilarious. They were a lot of fun. I read. This is a great book, and I got to meet Mona later. I knit. This was a cardigan that I started right when I got there. I worked on my art. I was sketching sheetrock here, and I did some painting. After all, that was what I was supposed to be there for. I didn't paint as much as I thought I would, but I still got some done. My friend Fiona came to visit from Bresse. She's also a friend of Rachel's. Rachel took us to the kirk and to the chapel, to the museum. And then she was very kind and lent us her car for the day. I made Fiona drive since she at least had the right side of the road going for her. But the museum was amazing. I remember it from my first visit there in 2007. It was a beautiful display of some of the traditional Fair Isle items all over. This was from the expedition that they commissioned them to make. It was like 100 sweaters, and they did it. They made it. I'm probably getting a lot of that history wrong, but Rachel can correct me.
You hear the bird?
The best part of this trip for me was meeting people. I finally got to meet Rachel after 3 years of talking back and forth on Messenger. I got to buy some of her beautiful yarn firsthand. You should check it out. It's gorgeous stuff. I got to meet her sheep, and we took a couple hikes together. This day we were up on the top of Ward Hill, which is the highest point of the island. It was quite a hike, but it was a lot of fun. I got to feed Tiddlywink, her last catty lamb. I got to meet Tommy after years of following him on social media. This is his extensive knitwear collection, knit by what I would call some Fair Isle royalty, at least knitting royalty, that is. And I got to meet with Kathy Cool again, who had us to lunch the first time we visited for a day in 2007. This time she taught me all about tatted rugs, which was pretty incredible. I had never heard of them before, and it's pretty big in Shetland history. And then I took a walk with Marie of Fair Isle Knitting Holidays up to her gorgeous studio. The views were just amazing, and we had a nice chat and some sweet treats and tea, and just a nice visit. I made some sourdough bread. I had to make do with what was in the kitchen as thank you gifts to those that were so kind to me. This is the cardigan that I didn't quite get finished, but alas, it was time to leave Fair Isle after 3.5 weeks. Fiona picked me up from Tingwall Airport and was quite the hostess. She took me all over the islands to show me the sights. I had forgotten to show this little bag that she wove and gave to me on Fair Isle. This is her weaving display at the Bresse Cafe. She's quite a weaver. We went to Ann Unson's house and chatted with her for a bit and admired her knitted fence. It was amazing. A really neat little yard she had. And we met Mona McAlpine, the highlight of my visit. She wrote The Fair Isle Nurse, as she was a Fair Isle nurse in the 60s. And she and her son Ian couldn't have been kinder. We had a lot of laughs, and it was a great visit. Fiona took me to all the museums all over the island and over to their house on Bresse for dinner at night, and I would take the 9:45 ferry back to Lerwick. Yes, it's 9:45 p.m. and it's still that light, which is good because I still had to walk to the hotel each night. While she was taking a weaving workshop online with a friend of ours, I walked all around Lerwick and checked it out and saw the sights and just enjoyed walking around and reminiscing from when I had gone and visited with my family earlier. I told you I'd be back at Jamieson and Smith. I didn't do too bad. I filled up a little nylon bag that I had brought in my suitcase, a couple cones and some skeins. This is on the North Link going south, passing Fair Isle for the last time. I will be forever grateful for this trip, and I hope that anybody who wants to go can go someday because it's an amazing place. I'm so grateful to all the people that made it such a great trip and for my family for being so supportive.
So wasn't that an amazing video? She did such a great job editing it, telling us the whole story of what it was like there. And it took me right back because I was there in 2017. And it is just, it's a very, very special place. So I'm glad she got to go there and made us a lovely video.
Yeah, she'd been sharing little bits in our Facebook group while she was there, and she reached out and asked if we would be interested, and I was thrilled.
We love to hear from viewers who might have something interesting to share, and we're happy to do that. So definitely get in touch if that's you, right?
Yeah. And I watched her segment, and it's just amazing.
It's brilliant. Yeah,
it's just amazing. I've yet to.
She had
travel.
great weather too.
Yeah,
mm-hmm.
It was interesting hearing that she was chilly. So I know we hear that from Rachel that the weather is
you're in the middle of the ocean. Well, middle of the North Sea. And until you figure out who has coal here? Do people use coal? I grew up using coal for heat, so it's different than wood as well. So
I have not a clue.
No, I think that will be an amazing.
My familiarity with using coal in a wood stove is A Christmas Carol and Bob Cratchit throwing a piece of coal on the fire. That's it.
Well, it's kind of like that. Well, thank you, Jean. Thank you so much. We really, really enjoyed your trip and hearing about it while you were there. You got to meet with Rachel and hang out and go for walks with Rachel. She'll be back with us soon. And I think
her video of the little lamps out her window, so cute.
Yeah. Oh, I could go on and on. Yeah, it's a beautiful place, just very special, especially when you do have those little lambs jumping around. Yeah. All right, so let's move on because we have more good stuff. But quickly, we want to show everyone what's in the shop that's new. So we do want to give a little mention that we do have some sock bags left. Not many, and time is running out. The cow obviously is starting today, but you can still get your own sock bag if you're interested. They'll be in the shop for a little while longer, but not too much longer. And of course, you get all this wonderful, wonderful yarn that we've talked about in previous episodes. So that is that. And we have all these bags to talk about.
Yes.
But I think first, should we look at these again?
Yes.
We showed these off last episode, and I think they got a lot of love.
They did. Lots of enthusiasm.
These are in the shop today. Yeah. So first up is their Farm Fresh. Now this is Junction Fiber Mill, which is our local mill right here well, in White River Junction in Vermont, which is right across the water from where we are in West Lebanon, New Hampshire. So we're a stone's throw away, and they are doing wonderful things. So this is their Farm Fresh. It's Cheviot, and it comes in black, white, and let me guess, gray, which is great. And this is locally sourced wool spun there at Junction Fibre Mill, and it's North Country Cheviot, which I think is lovely. I actually bought some of this when we were at New Hampshire. Wool and fibre, or
sheep
and wool, wool and fibre, what have you. But I think people are really super excited.
I saw happy comments about both, which is
yeah,
it's accurate.
Yeah. So this here is Making Tracks, and it's their own work of art. Really, this is my favorite one. I can't stop looking at it and touching it. And basically, they're making this barber pole effect by, they do all their dyeing. They get the tops. They get that in, and then they dye it, and then they spin it in such a way that you get this barber poling.
Yep.
This one's called Pebbles. Oh my gosh, gorgeous.
Yeah.
Your favorite one is this one.
This one is the hydrangea. It just looks like a hydrangea.
It really is.
And I'm such a sucker for barber pulling.
Well, it looks hand spun, which we know you're a
does.
hand spinner too. This one here is Late October, which is really lovely. And this one here is really pretty, Summer Shade. All those greens. Gorgeous. It's a 2-ply.
This yellow honeycomb.
These are DK weight.
Yep. I will say you should expect, similar with handspun, you'll expect some variation in the skein. There are some skeins that have much more pink or red. Some of the honeycomb have some brown. So there's
not a huge uniformity with this. No. It's
and that's part of the magic.
Yeah. Kind of one of a kind in a way. This one here is called Paisley, which I love. Just love the colors.
Birdsong.
Oh, but then.
Yes.
Oh, zinnia. What? Look at that. Gorgeous.
I love this one. Cranberry and apples.
Me too.
This might be the one that I bought at New Hampshire Sheep.
Yeah. And this is lovely. This is Lookout Ledge. And I mean, it's got black in it, but that light blue and purple. So yes, I've got a little postcard here. This is Peggy and Amanda at work in their mill. Lovely people. We haven't met Amanda yet. She's been out on maternity, but Peggy here is quite a character, and we enjoy her very much. Yeah, so yes, by purchasing these, you're supporting this very local to us little enterprise, and they're doing wonderful things.
Yeah.
I have to get some of this before it disappears.
I know. We are delighted to have it in the shop.
We are delighted, and we hope that you are too, and that that if you like this, we should be able to get more.
Yeah, it's been fun to see even staff go by, the bins.
The oohs and ahs, yes.
Ooh, what's that?
Well, and these are
when
great.
Peggy dropped it off, it was she gathered. There was a crowd that gathered.
I'm not
what
surprised.
Do you have?
It's so pretty, and it's very soft. Even the Farm Fresh is very soft.
Yeah, it is. It's soft, but it's woolly and it's so good.
Bouncy. Yeah. So all of it is DK weight.
Yeah, the Farm Fresh is going to be in more limited supply because it's dependent upon the farmer and the sheep.
Yep.
But
they should be able to get more of this if we tell them we like it.
Yeah.
I really want to do something that combines the two because they'll knit up well together. And I love this brown. So we should see what patterns we can find and maybe some suggestions for folks too.
Yeah, we try to always put pattern suggestions on our product pages.
Yep, for sure. Very helpful. Yep. And if you come up with something, let us know too.
Yeah.
What else do we have in the shop?
These are little, but these are actually, it's our summer stitch marker set. There we go. That was difficult. And they are cute. They are just little summery. These are very beachy. So you've got a little
sand dollar.
Thank you. My brain just stopped. I'm like, I don't know what that is. I like this one, the little sea turtle.
There you go. Very cute.
Oh, he's so cute. A little dolphin.
These have been selling really well too.
They're adorable.
Yeah. Just a nice little summery jewelry for your knitting. How many did they get?
I
1,
want to say
2, 3, 4, 5, 6.
A little starfish.
And they're on little jump rings.
Yeah. And then a seashell.
I like that.
I know.
Yeah.
They're really cute. So just a nice little way to summer up your knitting.
Yeah, for sure.
And they are in the shop now.
Yeah, very nice. And what is in there?
So, talking about our sweater cow coming up, we have planned a whole bunch of new sweater kits.
Right, as well as keeping some favorites from before.
Yeah, so we're working on restocking favorites, and we're bringing in some new ones. And
I wonder if before we look in there, we go off to Emma.
Yes.
Because we have so many people, or we have so many segments to fit in here.
Yeah.
We'll come back to that.
Yeah.
Yeah,
that's a
so
good
let's go
idea.
to Emma, who's talking about sock knitting, which is great. I hope you're ready and casting on with us today for the sock sprint. So let's go to Emma, and then we'll be back.
Hi everyone! I'm back today to talk more about socks. So if you saw my last segment, which was about a month ago, I was talking about all of the socks that I made with last year's sock bag. So this year I'm going to talk about this year's sock bag, most of which I have not knit with yet, but I do have one finished pair. And obviously this is because the sock sprint starts today, and I'm super excited. We'll see how many socks I get done. I have a lot of like half finished socks, so my goal might be to make the second pair, or the second sock of 2 pairs this year. We'll see. But I am really excited. So let's get started. Okay, so I already made one pair of socks. I made a pair of socks in the realm of Andre. So my colors, the main color was this pink. And I no longer have the ball bands because of course I don't. And then the contrasting color was this beige. And so I was really excited. Looks like, you know, kind of a really low-key, kind of like strawberries and cream, like little moment, and I loved it. So here's the socks. I'm gonna try not to clank these too much. I have little carabiners on my blockers. There we go. There's one of them. There's 2. I mean, you can see the second one is just like the first one. There they are. So they are lacy on the front, well, and the back, on the leg at least. They have a heel flap and gusset there. Classic wedge toe. You can really see this fluffed up a lot in the washing machine. So these are a pattern that I designed this past year. They have not been released yet, but they will at some point. They're called the Jane Bennett socks. But I wanted to see how they would work up in a worsted weight yarn. So I've knit these a couple times in regular sock weight, this pattern. And I like to see if my sock patterns, I always like to see if they work in like a heavier DK worsted weight, because a lot of folks like to knit those. So these worked great. I only cast on 40 stitches for the leg, which is pretty minimal. Even for DK, I think I would usually cast on like 44 or 48. So these are worsted, they're pretty thick. I'll take it off the blocker. The ends are not trimmed, but I don't think you can even see them. Wow, look at how well that holds its shape. That wool has memory. All wool has memory, but wow, that's amazing. So I really like it. It's a little stiffer. I knit this on a size US 3 needle. I think, yeah, 3. And it definitely is like a tight, it's a tight gauge across the, you know, bottom there. If I stretch it, it doesn't really stretch. Well, it stretches a little because knit fabric always stretches a little, but it seems pretty solid. Like I think this is going to be a pretty sturdy sock. All wool, 100% wool. I wash these in the washing machine with, I mean, I always wash my clothes in cold water because it's good for the environment and it doesn't really make a difference in the wash. So I just threw my socks in with my towels or something, I think, and they are really fluffy. So that was exciting. I found a little bit that because the yarn is a little more stiff. I had to put it down a little bit more often, but just be patient and go a little bit at a time if you find that that's the case. And again, I had a lot left, so that's pretty good. Didn't take too much yarn. You should be fine. I have a regular sized woman's foot, so you should be able to get a men's sock out of this whole set here. No problem. Amazing. Okay, so the second yarn that I'm going to show is the Mondim. This is Rosa Pomar Mondim. This is 100% wool from Portugal. All of our selections this year for the sock bag were self-striping or patterning, and I love that kind of yarn. So I've knit 2 pairs of socks with Mondim in the past, both with solid colors, and both of them were like lace patterns, and they came out really well. Mondim is a really, it's a different feel from most sock yarns. There's a lot of plies in it. Maybe there's just 2 plies. It looks like there's more plies, but I think there's just 2 if you look up close. This is color 214, by the way. Yeah, it's very round and springy. If you want to look up close, I don't think my camera will focus, but I really just find it, I find it comfortable in my hands. I find it comfortable to wear. It's hard wearing. I've never worn a hole in Mondim socks, even though they're 100% wool. It's really high squish factor. Like, you know, sometimes you get a yarn that's kind of like a little bit less kind of bouncy, which is fine, like because it probably has more drape or something. This one is not like that. This one is very bouncy. So I find that really exciting. For this, I'm gonna knit a sock or a pair of socks, hopefully, with some texture. So because it's self-patterning and the stripes kind of change, I think the ideal situation for this yarn, the way it can kind of be the main event without taking something away from a pattern, is if you do some kind of texture on the front. So again, because I'm a sock designer, I have like a whole library of socks that I'm gonna be knitting with these yarns, but I think I'm gonna pick a sock with a seersucker stitch for my pair of these, which is kind of a pebbly, very stretchy sock that's really fun with or knitting pattern, texture pattern, stitch pattern with like a lot of stretch, and it looks kind of like seersucker because it has like, with the knits and pearls, some of it sticks out and some of it doesn't in a very interesting regular pattern. But something like Hello Sailor socks, the Summer Lee's Hello Sailor sock set has one called the Broken Rope socks, which I really like. Those are really fun. There's a lot of fun stuff. Speaking of texture, I think the Broken Rope socks have the same texture as this cardigan. Just really simple knits and pearls. This cardigan is called Visiting, and it is by Stella Ackroyd. You can find it in Lina 11, which may or may not be in stock at the Woolly Thistle, but you can try. It was the issue from last spring, and I love this cardigan. It's knit in a Wensleydale, pure 100% Wensleydale Aran weight wool from the Wensleydale sheep shop in England, and it's really drapey. It's not heavy, but it drapes well. It hangs really well because of the Wensleydale is a long staple length, and it's very cozy. So I like to just throw it on. It doesn't even need buttons, it just stays in place. So fun texture patterns. Yeah, for this guy might be Petty Harbor socks. Petty Harbor socks are textured. Hermione's Everyday socks, really nice texture. That's a free pattern. Petty Harbor and Hermione's Everyday socks are both free. I think Hermione's Everyday socks, that's the pattern that has the most projects of all time on Ravelry. There's like 34,000 projects, or maybe more than that. But yeah, I've knit 1 pair, so I've contributed to that. Let's talk about the Jagger Spun next. I think this is the Mousom Falls sock yarn. It doesn't say Mousom Falls on it, Mousom Falls, but I think that's what it's called. This is a beautiful, completely solid color. This came in a really nice bright rainbow selection, and I love blues, so I was excited about this color. It's called Chicory, which is really exciting. It is 100% wool. This is superwash treated. These ones, by the way, Mondim and Rama Vendre, these are not superwash treated, so be careful with them. This guy's superwash treated. And it is just kind of it's a really round 4-ply sock yarn. I think it's quite thin. It reminds me of a 75-25 base, and it's kind of the most commercial feeling yarn, but it is 100% wool. It's exciting. I think I'm gonna knit a lacy sock with this, like maybe a lace panel sock with lace down the front, because I think this will really make, because of the solid color, I think it will make a lace pattern really pop really well. It'll be really really pretty, and just kind of like, the yarn is simple, but I think it's gonna have this beautiful sheen to it when it's blocked. I think it's gonna be really comfortable to knit with, so I'm really excited about this. Oh my gosh, just love this. Okay, so this is my favorite one, Daughter of a Shepherd Drover, and I'm a woolly wool lover, so of course this is my favorite. But you can see there's a little halo on that. Oh, yeah. This is the only yarn in the bag that has nylon. There is 10% nylon and 90% wool in this. Can't tell what color this is. Oh, Pennygent, Yorkshire Hills and Mountains. I think that's the colorway name. I feel like that was one of the colorway names. It's not the darkest, but I think it's either the lightest or the second lightest. There's only 3 natural choices. So great. Hebridean, Swartblez, and Exmoor Blueface. This one smells like wool. So I find that it's spun at John Arbon, and John Arbon does a good job keeping the wool, kind of keeping it really clear that that came from an animal, it came from a sheep. It doesn't smell bad. If you're unfamiliar with the smell of woolly wool, it just, yeah, it smells really good. But it's like, yeah, it's wool. It's really woolly. Yeah, just it feels to me a little bit like the John Arbon Exmoor sock, in the way that it is a little bit bristly almost, but like it's just the short staple of the wool here. You can see the little halo coming off of it. It's not uncomfortable to wear. I don't find it hard on the hands. It's just, it's a little bit more of a natural, it's a little closer to, you know, the experience of what wool feels like on a sheep, which I know at the Woolly Thistle we all love. So I hope this yarn makes you as excited as it makes me, because, and you do get 2, it's 50-gram skeins, so you get 2. So for this yarn, I don't know what I'm gonna do because it's so special. So I'm really thinking about this one. It's probably gonna be the last one I cast on for this year, just because I really want it to be like the perfect pattern with this yarn. So I might do something textured. You could do a lace pattern with this. You could. It's not completely solid, but it would probably show up pretty well as a lace pattern. If I could find a lace pattern that's worthy of this yarn, I would use a lace pattern. Could do like little cables. That might be kind of fun if you're into that. I don't usually like to knit cables on my socks just because you need to use like a toothpick. But anyway, that's exciting. So we'll see. I will be, of course, bringing you along my sock knitting journey with the socks from the yarn in this bag all year. So hopefully next month I'll have knit another pair. We'll see. I think I'm gonna end up casting on the Mondim socks next with my textured pattern. I'm super excited. So yeah, I'm a big sock lover. I'm also gonna show you some progress on my hap. I showed my hap, I think, right at the start of the hap cal, which was probably like in April, many shopcasts ago. And I have since had a little bit of a revamp. The pattern I had initially chosen was Woodcut by Kari Westerman, and it was gorgeous, but it was like not really where I had the patience at the moment. You know, I wanted something a little bit more just like chill, and the lace was just like very, it's like a lot of lace. It was so beautiful, but I just kept getting the stitch counts wrong and like not being able to figure out where I was in the pattern and being like, what did I do wrong? And lace just takes the focus that a like really complicated lace does that I didn't have kind of at the time. So I ripped back just to the triangle part and I extended it. So I extended the triangle, I'm trying not to let this fall off the needles, to be the size of the Hansel Hap medium, half. So I did that, and then I picked up along the edge and I'm doing the Hansel medium, as I said. I've got this red from John Arbon, which is Harvest Hues 4-ply in pomegranate. Also easy to tell this came off of a sheep. Really squishy, it's so squishy. So this yarn is 100% wool. It's 65% merino and 35% swartblaz, so it gives it this murkiness. Put the label here. You can order John Arbon yarns to the US. I got this when I was in England, but you can get some of the more of the yarns are kind of becoming available in shops. Woolly Thistle obviously stocks Devonia, Yarnadelic, and Exmoor sock. And those are like amazing yarns. And Marie Wallen's British Breeze is spun by John Arbon, Daughter of a Shepherd, the worsted spun ones. So the Heritage Broom and this new sock yarn Drover, those are spun by John Arbon. Great, it's like a great small mill in England, and they use like really nice, beautiful English British wool. So I have this for the main color, and then for my stripes, I'm not following the like pattern for like changing all different colors, but I am following like do this many like rows in this color, and then I just go to the next color and the next color, and I only have 3 colors. So this is also from John Arbon. This is a swartblaz and Exmoor Blueface yarn, 4-ply as well, and it is, you can see here, it's just the Exmoor Swartblaz 4-ply. It's completely natural. Shade is called light. They have light, medium, and dark. You can see that. So it's mostly Blueface. But there's 30% swartblaz, similar to this, the red. There's about the same swartblaz content. So it kind of has a similar murkiness, like the gray-brown quality to it, which is really nice. And then my final color is Daughter of a Shepherd Heritage 4-ply, which came in my Woolly Thistle box in November. Yeah, the selection box. So I got this last year and I got it this year, 2020 and 2021. So in 2021, I actually made a jumper, which probably has been on the Shopcast. I made the Yoki Doki by Gudrun Johnston in Jagger Spun, and then this was the contrasting colors. I had a lot left, and I ended up making a hap, the Belvrade hap with the leftovers of that, and then the beginning of this ball. So I've got a lot left, and I'm using it for my hap. So this might actually get done in the next little while, which I would like to have off my needles because it's nice to finish projects, but the colors are, sorry, it's hard to kind of see that. The colors are just very autumnal. Hopefully it'll be done by the fall. It'll be done by the fall. This is the current like non-sock project that I'm working on right now. So I'm really loving it. It's like a lot of really nice relaxing garter stitch and then like a little bit of simple lace, and it's just so nice. So probably most of you have already finished your haps if you participated in our hap cow, but it yeah, it's taken me a little while. So I wanted to share mine because Corrine shared her progress last time on the Shopcast too. It's like some of us are still going, yay, we're still cheering each other on to the finish. So anyway, thanks so much for watching as always. And yeah, back to y'all.
Thank you so much for Emma. It's always great to watch Emma.
I love Emma. She's so enthusiastic.
She really is so enthusiastic. I love seeing her sock knitting, and good to see her hap progress.
Yeah.
So if you're still working on your hap, don't feel bad.
Don't
Just
feel
keep
bad.
on working
You're
on
in
it.
good company. And but for those of you that have, I've still been seeing FOs posting. So thanks. Keep that coming. It takes as long as it takes, you know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a race.
So getting back to what's in these bags, tell us.
So we have our upcoming sweater cow.
Which starts August 18th.
This will be our 4th annual sweater cow.
Can you believe that?
I cannot. That was one of those cows too where we're like, hey, let's just knit some sweaters together. And
we're still doing it.
We're still doing it. And it's great. I can think of each of the sweaters that I've
Yep.
done. So in preparation for that, we've put together a collection in the shop to make all of our sweater kits easy for you to find. And that'll include our new sweater kits. And it'll include some that are coming so that you know what's coming very soon.
Right. And so when you go to the shop, in the menu up top, there'll be Sweater Cal. If you click on that, it just takes you to the sweater place in the shop. But we want to mention that you don't have to shop to participate.
Right.
You just need to use yarn that you originally received from the Woolly Thistle. So 80% of your finished object should be with yarn that you purchased at some point from the Woolly Thistle. So either new or stash.
Yeah. And we say 80% because if you're doing a yoked sweater,
Think
about that main color amount
Yeah.
being from the Woolly Thistle yarn, and then if you want to do scrappy,
Yeah. Something
color work,
else,
that would be fine.
Yeah.
So yes, go stash driving to your Woolly Thistle stash, and
Yes, and these are really nice size bags. Let's hold the bag up, and it's gusseted. Oops, so it's gusseted at the bottom. Yes, it does, and it's a nice. It's not too thick, but it's thick.
yeah,
Canvas, which is lovely.
yeah, it feels nice.
Mm-hmm.
So I just grabbed a couple that we had already put together, and this one is for the Douglas Cardi from Andrea Mowry, which is currently on pre-order. And so it uses Tuku DK.
It's gorgeous.
One of the colors that's in the cardi is not in here because
That's why it's a pre-order.
Yeah, it's on its way.
And it probably will be here by the time you actually see this, but
Yeah.
as we're recording, it's a pre-order. So Tuku Wool came out with a DK weight not long ago, and it's been hard to keep in stock, but we have Douglas kits quantities here.
Yeah, so that cardi looks so cozy and comfy, just a classic.
Of course, it's an Andrea Mowry.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yes, the colors are really.
Yeah. So you use the gray as the name color, and then she has big bold stripes of the other colors.
This is so pretty.
And it's a gorgeous cardigan.
Yeah, it's going to be lovely.
And the color that's missing is that mauvey pinky purple. That's the other color.
Love that color.
It's gorgeous.
It's good to have Tuku back in the shop.
It
It's
is.
always popular, and it's always very hard to keep in stock.
I believe the fingering weight is also in stock at
Yeah,
the moment.
good.
So get it while you can.
Yeah, that's basically the message of that, for sure.
Sorry
Okay,
for the shrinking.
let's just put that down there.
Okay.
And do we have another?
We do have another. This one, I don't want to talk about that one yet.
Oh,
I'll talk about this
exciting.
one.
Okay.
The other one that we're going with that we have kits for in the shop right now is the Skip with cardigan.
From Daughter of a Shepherd.
Daughter of
This
a
is such a lovely cardigan.
It really is.
It's
So-
got a little yoke detail, so it's a yoked sweater cardigan actually. Yeah, it's really pretty.
Yeah. So
Oh,
if in our shop, if you see that it's called a yarn set, that usually means that the pattern is not included and you have to buy directly from the designer.
Yep.
If it's a kit, we include the pattern, and this one does include the printed copy
a
of the
lovely
pattern.
printed copy.
You get all the yarn that you need
Oh, it's
based on
beautiful.
the size that you're knitting. And you also get a cute little stitch marker.
Lovely. And not a lot of yarn gets you quite far with
I
this.
mean, because you get such generous yardage. You've got 437 yards in each skein.
Yeah.
And this is enough yarn for the smallest cardi.
And this is her heritage,
Yep.
fingering weight, is
Yes.
it? Yeah. Beautiful.
Yeah.
Beautiful.
So, and I think that actually the smallest size, it says you use exactly 2 skeins, so they recommend 3 because you're gonna
you're
gonna swatch or
Yeah.
if you make any adjustments, especially the pattern has 3/4 length sleeves, so if you lengthen sleeves.
right.
So since they recommend at least 3, that's what you get.
There is the schematic, so you can see the silhouette. It's lovely.
It is
And there is
beautiful.
a Ravelry download code included as well.
Great.
That's a nice kit.
It is a nice kit.
Yeah. And it smells good.
It does. I know that would be the best smelling cardigan.
Yeah.
Um,
Really heady stuff when you're knitting.
Yeah, so now we can talk about this one.
Okay.
So we have put together yarn sets for the Porty pullover from
By
Gudrun
Gudrun.
Johnson.
Yep.
We've put yarn sets together for the gender neutral selection, which
Yep.
the colors are different on that one. And
Get a cone.
and you get a cone.
Oh my
So
God.
We've decided we've got a limited number of cones. The cones are only
you?
I know. I have been sniffing it. The cones. So these are the
Oh,
colors
gorgeous.
for this. I know.
Beautiful. Beautiful.
Just gorgeous. So you would get a cone, which is more than enough for any of the sizes. So there's only one size. for
Right, there's
this.
one kit and you get pretty much this, right?
Yeah.
Oh, this is so cute.
Yeah. I think the amounts, actually, as I say that, I think the amounts of
Will
depending on the
change.
size, this
Yeah.
will change. So,
But you get the cone
but
regardless.
either way, you get one cone and then the amount of contrasting colors.
And it's quite likely you could knit half a hap with that as well, or any number of things.
Yeah,
so
so-
that's a great deal. And a very cute little gold stitch marker of a bee.
Yeah,
These colors. Oh,
I know.
talking to me.
I know.
I'm feeling
Great
it.
colors. Great colors.
That is a great kit. So,
That is a great
so
kit.
just to remind you, these are brand new kits to us that
Yeah.
we're putting together, and there's a lot more coming.
Yeah.
And that's why we're telling you to go look at the collection in the shop, because while we stagger them as releases, you will at least be able to plan and know that this is coming.
Yeah.
So that's
Yeah.
where you'll
so
find
this
them all.
the 40 pullover set. It's not in the shop yet. If you go to the shop, you can see when it'll be live.
Right, we're going to put dates on things.
Yeah, I think so.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes. And of course, we're keeping some favorites like the Elfida and
The Lunenburg.
The Lunenburg. Gosh, that one is very popular.
It is. It's
Yeah.
gorgeous.
Yeah, knitted in lichen and lace. Yeah.
The Bladjaka and the
Yep.
Anayaka.
Anayaka.
And actually, I gotta mention this. I was particularly excited about this. So we have the Barty cardigan. I'm
Barty
sorry,
cardi.
Barty cardi. That's what we call it in the shop. So it's hard to. But we have been continually getting asked about the coordinating skirt.
Right.
And so now you can we have it as a separate kit, so you can buy the cardigan, and then we have a link to the skirt if you want to
So
purchase
cute.
the whole outfit.
So cute. What's that
It
knitted in?
is Rama Finull yarn.
Yeah. Fingering.
Fingering weight.
Yeah. Adorable.
It is adorable.
Really pretty. Yeah, so we have a lot of lovely sweaters. Now listen, it's August when we start knitting sweaters, so it's
Yeah.
hot. But
It
there's a
is.
reason why we do that, is so that you're finished in time
Yeah.
for Rhinebeck.
And we did a poll. We did a poll in our Facebook group, and resoundingly, overwhelmingly, everybody wanted a 7-week cow.
Huh.
So
Okay.
we're giving you a little extra. I think last year it was 6
6,
weeks,
yeah.
which it's fine with us. I'm
Yeah.
happy to do a 7-week cow.
Yeah.
But this way, it still ends in mid-October,
Yeah,
and you're
perfect for
ready
sweater weather.
Exactly. You're all set for sweater weather
Yes.
and any sheep and wool festivals
Yes.
you might be going to.
Yes, and we're not sure what we're
We
doing
don't
yet.
know what we're doing yet.
Yeah, so
There we go.
but we'll be knitting a sweater. Anything else? Oh, let's talk about this brand new book up there, Food Made in Shetland. Can you reach?
I can.
This is a gorgeous
Here.
book. I haven't actually seen it
Oh,
yet.
there. How about it's
Oh.
it's really pretty.
It's-
I like the back. Show the back.
The little coo.
Yes, the cow. I was cow.
It's a cow. Oh yeah, the photography is quite lovely, isn't it?
It is.
Yeah, I should share that. Like, there we go. Oh, that new book smell. I didn't know I was such a nose person, but it turns out I really enjoy good smells.
I gotta say too. Can I?
Yeah,
This is what I like.
it lays flat.
It lays flat.
Yeah, very clever.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
mean, especially for a cookbook, that's what
Yeah,
you want. These
that-
look really good too.
Yeah, gooseberry.
Growing up, my mom used to grow gooseberries. She had gooseberry bushes.
We had gooseberry bushes growing in a field outside the back of our house, and all us kids would play and eat them and chase each other with them. Yeah, this is lovely. So this is all Shetland cuisine. Of course, you're going to have seafood and fish, lots of fish. Ooh, fresh salmon cofts with horseradish sauce. Oh my God, that sounds good. And lots of baking and desserts as well.
Yeah.
So this is a lovely book. We just got this in not long ago, so it's there
Yeah,
and
it's
ready.
in the shop now. So Shetland Wool Adventure Journal 4 is on pre-order. They've had a slight printing delay. But as soon as it arrives, you can order your copy now. Yep. And I think we're expecting it like mid-August right now.
Yeah. So it's got a very long runway, but good to get that on the books. So we have that. Number 4 will be coming. Okay, and a Fair Isle Nurse.
I think a Fair Isle Nurse, especially Jean mentioned that.
Exactly.
So.
Yep, so we have this in stock, which is, Jean mentioned it in her segment, and it's a lovely read for sure by Mona McAlpine, who was the only healthcare provider on Fair Isle, and is still that way now. They only ever have, the one lonesome nurse. And actually, I don't know if they have anybody right now. I'm not sure. They do tend to go spells of time where nobody's there because they don't want to live in Fair Isle full time or what have you.
Right, it's a very small population.
Well, it's about, I think it's about 60 when it's really packed.
Okay.
So, I think it fluctuates, and there's sometimes only 2 children maybe in the school, and they have a school for them, but there might only be 2 kids. So, yeah. Different way of life. Fascinating way of life. Anything else new that we want to show? I think we've gone through everything.
That is it.
Well, that's good. So we made it, and now we want to go off to Denise, who I had a lovely chat with. All things socks. Denise is a wonderful sock knitter and teacher. She teaches at Vogue and various other different festivals, and she's just a lovely human.
She taught me this weekend. Because doing her sock, I needed a review of the shadow wrap heel, and her video is amazing. Yeah, you just go to links it right in the pattern. It's a gorgeous heel. Yep. It's just really nice.
She's very generous with her knowledge, and so we highly recommend that you check out her YouTube channel. She is Earthtones Girl everywhere, and that's where you find her. But now let's go and have our chat with her, and I think right after that we'll have Kim take us out. So we'll say goodbye for now and enjoy the rest of the podcast, and we'll see you in a couple of weeks. So until then, I think all that's left to say is if you go out, take your knitting. Bye for now. So everyone, I'm delighted to introduce you, or maybe you've already met my lovely guest, Denise, who is Earthtones Girl and a sock maven. It's good to have you here again. It's nice to see you.
Thank you so much for having me. It's good to see you, Corrine. How are you?
I'm good. I'm enjoying all things knitting. Even though it's hot and summery, it's still perfect for sock knitting, actually. Yeah.
Exactly. It's small and portable. Nothing sitting on your lap making you sweat.
I know, because I have enough of that going on. So yeah, that's what we're here to talk about, is socks and sock knitting and all those good things. And as we're getting ready for our summer sprint, which is our annual CAL, it's a 2-week sock sprint where we try and knit a pair of socks or more in 2 weeks. And we don't have a lot of rules, except it's a pair of adult size socks. So with that said, I wanted to get you on the show because you are all things socks. You have your No Fear sock course, and you're a sock explorer with all your different heels and toes. And I hope that you're going to talk a little. Yes, I hope you're going to talk a little about that.
I will. I'd be happy to.
Yeah, maybe start. You have a brand new pattern out. I know Maggie is knitting it.
I do. So, I'm so excited. Yes, I have it here.
Yeah, let's have a look.
Here it is.
Gorgeous. Lovely. Tell us about the design.
This is called the One More Step Socks.
Okay.
And the design was inspired. Last year, I went to Wool & Folk and found a book called What Would Madame Defarge Knit?
Oh, I like the sound of that.
I have it right here. It's let's pull it out and not start an avalanche. So this is the book. It's What Would Madame Defarge Knit? Yeah. And it's inspired, all of the patterns in the book are inspired by works of literature.
Wonderful. God, how did I miss that? I don't know.
It's actually, it's one of 3 books. So it's really, really wonderful. And I've always loved Tolkien. Yeah. And I've loved Lord of the Rings. Yeah. And I just thought, I want to create a pattern based on that. Yeah. So this is what was born of that idea.
One more step. I love that. So tell us about the design. Is that a little cable on there?
Yes, there are. Now, I think the light, let me move it over to this side. So this is a 1x1 cable.
Okay.
So it's a left leaning and a right leaning, one and on each sock.
Oh, lovely. A mirror.
Yeah. So it's a mirror, right? It's a mirror image, and you can wear them either way, so that the cable runs along the outside of your foot or on the inside. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
And I really wanted, there's 4 cables to represent the 4 hobbits, the 4 friends of friendship.
Lovely.
And the color of the yarn, when I was trying to, I had the design in my head, and I tried it in one color and it didn't work. And then I tried it in another and I thought, no. And this green is almost the shade of Frodo's door, of Bilbo Baggins's door from the book. And
gorgeous.
This yarn is John Arbon Exmoor 4-ply,
which we have here in the Woolly Thistle. Yeah.
Yes. And it's
how did you like it? Yes, from last year's sock bag.
It's from last year's sock bag. And as soon as I'm rummaging through the stash and saw it, I thought, yes, this is it. This is it.
Yeah. It's gorgeous.
Amazing. The yarn feels, it's rustic yet soft. It has such definition.
Yeah.
But yet there's a softness to it. I love the halo. I'm not sure if you can get
you can see that
on it.
Yeah.
I absolutely loved working with this yarn. I love these cables because the cables are done, as I'm looking through, the cables are done without a cable needle.
Yeah. Oh, nice, easy then.
Very, very easy, very beginner friendly. If you've never done cables before, you don't have to worry about a needle.
Right.
And I did a tutorial that shows 2 different ways to do each of the cables.
Right.
Because sometimes the halo on the yarn can get caught on your needle. So I wanted to provide different ways to do it. But
perfect. And what kind of heel did you do?
I did a shadow wrap short row heel. Right.
And that is, now you have another design that is the shadow wrap.
I do.
Right?
And that one is, that's the first time I used the design. I'm going to put these down for just a moment. And that's this pattern, which is the sock exploration.
Yes.
And that's the first time I did the heel or introduced the heel. And it's not mine. Let me just say that right now. This heel is not mine. I did not create it. Someone shared the information with me about the heel and I just started playing with it.
Yeah.
And fell in love with it. I just thought it's very comfortable to wear.
Yeah.
You don't get the sliding that sometimes happens with the short row heel. It's very easy to memorize. You don't have to count. So yeah, I decided to include that.
It's lovely.
In this pattern.
I like the length of these.
Yeah, these are just a shorty pattern and you can make it a little longer if you wish.
Sure.
And I just wanted the cables to run right out of the ribbing, which I thought would be a nice little.
Very nice. Very nice.
Little thing.
Oh, that's wonderful. So that was out of your sock bag last year.
Yes.
And have you got your sock bag from this year? I believe you do.
I've got my bag. I've got my yarn. It's all here.
Hooray, hooray.
I took 2 skeins out already from the bag.
Yes.
This deliciousness right here. And this is Daughter of a Shepherd. This is Drover.
Yes. It's brand new and really gorgeous. This also is spun by John Arbon, same as the Exmoor, but it comes, but it comes from Rachel, whose father manages Hebridean sheep on a big estate in Yorkshire. So this yarn in particular is very special because it's brand new and we are the only ones with it right now. And it's got a lovely smell and you can feel the lanolin on it still too.
And that's what I loved about it. When I kept my bag intact and I just did a giveaway of your sock bag. You're welcome. My pleasure. And I want people to know your yarn. I'll gush about your yarn more in 1 minute, but I took this out to take a picture of it. And as soon as my hand touched it, I thought, I can just stop right here.
That is the right feeling right there. It's like, it's like you've come home almost. It
does.
There's so much in it.
It feels like you've come home. It feels like there's a connection directly to the animal, to the farm, to the spinner, to the shepherd. It feels, I'm a lover of history. So I feel almost connected to the past when you touch yarn like this.
That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I feel very lucky that at the Woolly Thistle, that is basically our main sort of product, is that place-based or straight to history or women's work or whatever it is. It's just
whatever label speaks to you.
That's right. That's right. But it's still there, and it's in its almost most natural form, as close to the sheep as you can get it oftentimes.
Exactly. And like you said, you touch it and your hand instantly, you can feel the lanolin without feeling sticky.
Yes.
And that smell is just nothing like that smell.
Yeah. Donovan Shepherd's yarn is always fun to open when we get the delivery. We're all sitting around breathing in. It's wonderful.
Dive in. So I think this may be the first pattern that I'm going to work on this first from all of the yarn, and it's all beautiful. I think we had this one.
Yeah, that's Jagger's one. No, this is brand new, and we don't stock it as a rule. So this is their sock yarn that we got in specially for the bag, and so many beautiful colors, all very spring-like, the colors.
That's amazing. Yeah. Oh my goodness. We could talk about we could just stop right here.
I know. And I love that we've got quite a lot of the world happening in that bag too. I think we've got the USA, the UK, Portugal, and Norway. So quite a few different places represented there.
Absolutely. And I think the Portugal, which is this.
Yes. Isn't that amazing?
This is amazing. I actually have this in a yellow color, similar to this color.
Okay. Yep. But don't you love the feel of that in the ball? I think that's got a very, very strong feel to it. It's dense.
It's very dense. Yes. It really is dense. I do have one sock knit up in this, which I didn't bring down in a different color. And to your viewers, if you haven't knit with this,
it's a must.
Yep. It's a must.
Now,
absolutely a must.
Now, these yarns, apart from, funnily enough, Drover, are all 100% wool. So there's no nylon in any of it. There's 10% in the Drover, which is the strange one to have it in, but it needed, I think, a little bit. But all of these wools are 100% wool. And you were just saying earlier that, in the bygone days, that's what people knit with. They always knitted their socks in 100% wool because they didn't have nylon.
They didn't have nylon. And that there's 10% in this as well.
Yes, that's right.
And it feels amazing on your foot. It really does. And I think because I almost think that not having nylon is almost to your advantage, because the wool will start to felt slightly.
Yep.
Which reinforces. So it's almost self-reinforcing. So there isn't going to be that wear as quickly as you would think.
Right. But there probably is going to be somewhere, but then your shadow wrap heel, you can take that heel off that's got a hole in it and replace it.
Right.
And make the socks last longer.
Right. Just make them last longer. And I was inspired to learn that method from the great Elizabeth Zimmerman. And there's a reason why these heels and toes and different designs exist.
Right.
A lot of them were created before there was nylon in yarn.
Yes, exactly. Yarn. And they knew that they were going to be repairing something or other, because people are hard on their socks for one thing,
Right. Yeah. Exactly. They really are.
But it's kind of a mindset shift as well to think, well, I don't have to knit a whole new pair of socks. I'm just going to fix the ones I have, or I'm going to darn them. Do you do any darning? Have you done any darning?
I don't. I haven't done any darning. I have ripped out an afterthought heel and replaced, but I haven't actually darned. But I do have a darning tool.
Yeah. I just haven't used it yet. I feel like that would be a really fun exploration for you. Because when you've got the heel toe and gusset, the heel turn and gusset socks, that might be a little bit harder to repair without darning it, unless you cut the whole thing off and then put in an afterthought type heel or something.
Well, it's interesting. I've started beginning of last year, I started on my, as you called me, a sock explorer at the beginning, and it's my sock exploration. And Mars, who's Hey Brownberry, she coined that phrase, and it really does apply. And there's a book by Lara Neal called Sock Architecture.
Yes.
And there is actually a pattern in that book for an afterthought heel flap and gusset.
Is that right? Oh my God.
So,
I want to find out more about that because I love a heel turn.
I know, and a lot of people do, and it's interesting. I think I started to steer away from a heel turn or heel flap and gusset because of time.
Right.
Once I have my children, I don't have as much knitting time, and I don't want to have to stop and actually count.
Yes, exactly.
Count my rows. I get a little lazy, which steered me toward the short row heel, but I still that classic.
Yeah.
It's just, I've got that here.
And it's magic. I mean, you know, if you're a knitter who hasn't knit socks and then you turn a heel like that, you feel like you can do anything, right?
Stephanie Pearl McPhee, who's the yarn harlot, she said that turning a sock heel makes you feel smart.
It really does. I remember my first time and I just felt like, I just couldn't believe it. I felt so technical. And
yes, yeah.
You know,
I'm a knitter now. I think I almost heard angels singing when I turned the heels. Like, oh, you did it.
And it's not difficult. It's one of those things that looks much more complicated than it actually is, especially if someone like you are walking you through the different stages, you know.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Yes, and let's talk about that, your No Fear sock knitting. Tell me the right name for it.
It's No Fear sock knitting class online.
Yeah. So people can find it on YouTube, and you have loads of different videos knitting a sock from A to Z, really.
Literally A to Z. And I keep adding to it as I'm, learning more and sharing more. And I really wanted to take the brand new never knit socks before knitter.
Yes.
From the very, very beginning, just even understanding the tools.
Yes. Yeah.
You've got so many different techniques for knitting a sock.
Right.
And styles. How do you pick the right needle? How do you match a needle to yarn? What kind of yarn do I choose? Where do you start?
Yeah.
So I literally start with the video getting started, which is number one.
Yep. I
hold your hand through how to knit socks.
Yeah.
And it's really interesting, even in that course, I always knit a sock. I'm going to pop this off for a moment. I always did my sock front to back. So I started this way, then I would turn the sock in profile, do the heel flap and gusset, and then continue down, do this back and forth, and then continue down the toe. And then I learned later on, wait a minute, you can stay front to back. You don't have to rearrange. So I did a tutorial for that as well. So it's sock knitting for me is a constant learning experience. It's always changing, evolving. What else can you learn? What else can you do? Oh, can I apply that technique to the sock?
Yep.
So it's never boring. I never find sock knitting boring, ever, ever, ever.
And I always think in summertime, that is the prime sock knitting time. That and getting ready for holiday giving and stuff like that, because socks are good to give. But in the heat of the summer, knitting on a pair of socks is so much more comfortable than, say, a sweater.
Right. Yeah. And it's also for some people just economically.
Yep. It's an easier lift. Yeah.
It's an easy, right. Exactly. It's just, it fits more budgets sometimes than buying enough quantity for a sweater.
Exactly. Yeah. That's a really good point.
Right. I'll never deter anyone from knit the sweaters. Absolutely. But you may not be able to, but you really want to experiment with different things.
Yeah. Yeah.
And here you go.
No, and that's right. You can get in for one skein and see if you like knitting and see if you like knitting small circumference and socks. And sock knitting is really for everybody as well. It's for that very first beginner knitter all the way through to people who have been knitting for years. They can still enjoy knitting a sock or trying a different yarn,
Exactly. I also like to consider it as the perfect canvas to experiment, because everything that you do in knitting, again, from A to Z, whether your sweaters, shawls, whatever you're knitting, can all be applied to a sock. Exactly. Your color work, your cables, your lace.
Yes.
Like anything can be done in a sock.
Yes, that's really, really a good point, because you can find a stitch design that you like on a sweater or a shawl and just pare it down to, those number of stitches and put it on a sock. Right. And doing that actually teaches you a lot about design as well, because you will suddenly realize well, I thought it would just go, but now I have to jog over a stitch or something like that.
Right,
And then,
exactly.
and then if you want to write it up as a pattern, that's a whole other education too, is learning how to speak in knitting pattern speak. Because I remember discovering that I was writing the way I was thinking about it and nobody would have understood it. You have to find the, you know, the way to do it. So there's loads and loads of avenues of interest.
And it's interesting. Sorry, I'm interrupting. We're both so excited. We're
exactly
over each other. It's interesting that you say writing your pattern the way you speak, because that's how Elizabeth Zimmerman did a lot of her patterns as almost like a conversation with a knitter.
Yes, which is so nice.
Which is so nice, but that doesn't feel right to some people. You know, they want specifics. They want an exact number, and they want like knit this number of rows, this number of rounds. They want more specifics. And I'm so grateful that she was my first teacher. This Knitting Without Tears was my first knitting book. I now have quite a few, but that was my first one. And it was, you're in charge. You want to cast on 60 stitches? Sure. If that doesn't work, try a different number the next time. And it was, I'm not locked in. The minute I realized I wasn't locked in to a pattern, I actually felt freedom by not being locked in.
Yeah.
Opposed to the rigors of actually following a pattern. And I like to tell people, I've tried to write my patterns so that you can tweak them any way you want.
Yeah, make them longer or up and down a size. Yes.
Right, up and down a size, longer, shorter. If you don't like the heel, put in a different heel. Just start it in the same place. So it's giving people options. It's
empowering them.
It's very, very empowering.
It's so interesting because, you know, I learned to knit as a child, and the patterns I had to use, this is pre-internet, of course, they were sort of these little columns of tiny type where it would say things like, you know, knit one front and back to the end, and at the same time increase at the end of the row. And you had to have a knitter in your life to decipher all that. You know, you needed to have that person to help you.
Absolutely. I'm turning around because I'm looking for a book. Oh dear, of course I can't find it now, but I had a book that wrote patterns exactly the way you just said it. And it was an old needlework book that used to be in old magazines. Like women had like one section in their women's magazine. It was, like you said, do this at the same time, do this, and at the same time do that.
It's mumbo jumbo. It's crazy. So you had to have somebody to help you. And I think what we have now is much more friendly patterns.
Absolutely.
And the internet and YouTube, and you don't need to have, you know, your granny ready to help you, because you've got the whole world out there who are knitting and you know, learning right along. But yeah, I think that's great that because I was very much bound by that pattern. I didn't think I could leap off for a long time. I had to follow, you know, everything they said. So I think it's great. I'm always interested when I hear that people, you know, they don't want to stick to a pattern. They want to be able to step outside of it and tweak. So brave. So brave. It's
brave. It's really brave. And I also think I'd like to foster that sense of empowerment. That's what I really try with my classes. And, you know, people say, oh, have you tried to do it this way? And I'm like, no, but you could try. You know what I mean? If you can think it up, most of the time people can try it. There's that fear of making a mistake. And to me, it's not like sewing. When you sew,
that's it. Or when you cut, you're done.
You're done. That's it. You're done. You cut the fabric wrong, and you can either make something else with it or it goes in the bin. So
exactly.
One or the other. With your knitting, you just rip it out and you do it again.
So I have said more than once, all knitting is good knitting. And that's why, because so long as you're knitting something, it's all good. And if you rip it out, then you just get to knit more. And, you know, not a bad thing at all. Yeah, never. I love that.
Never a bad thing. Never a bad thing at all. Not at all.
So so that's your course. We tell all our customers who ever get in touch with us about asking about knitting sock knitting resources, we will send them to you. Yes, for sure, because we love what you're doing.
Thank you so much.
So let's see. Do you have any tricks, any quick tips under your sleeve for a brand new sock knitter today who might be watching this and thinking about casting on for a sock sprint? I think my tip would be that you can knit vanilla socks too. They don't have to be patterned or textured or anything. That you can just knit round and round and round. Practice your heel and your toe.
Round and round and round. There is I use the term meditation in motion to just knitting around and around and around.
Yes.
And when I am at my worst, whatever is happening in life, it's vanilla sock. I don't want design. I don't want to think. That is I almost call it my glass of wine and my cigarette. It's just a lot healthier.
That's a good way to think about it.
Yeah, it's a lot healthier. And it's so soothing.
Yeah.
It's
grounding
soothing
as well. It just sort of brings you back.
And even for your sprint, if you have what the first tip I would say in terms of picking a pattern, if you are relatively new to the process, do a shorty sock.
Yes, exactly. Don't spend hours on a
don't spend hours on something that's super duper long. You know, just take your time, knit a shorty sock. You're going to get the same. All of the parts are here.
That's true. That's absolutely true.
You know, they're all here. And I feel sometimes with social media, because everyone's going to be watching the sprint, whether it's here on YouTube or they're going to be watching on Instagram. I feel like knitters get a pressure to knit faster.
Right.
And they have to, but look at so-and-so's socks. They're so beautiful. But look at her socks or his socks and going, no. Knit your socks.
That's right. And that's a great point. We do stress that this is your own sprint. It's not to compare yourself or your knitting to anybody else. You do your own thing. And if you only get half a sock done, that's great. You know, it's all great. All knitting is good knitting.
All knitting is good knitting. That should be the new catchphrase. All knitting is good knitting.
What about a first heel? You know, what's an approachable heel for someone who's maybe learning to knit on this sock too?
If you're learning to knit, I think learning a short row heel is easiest because you're not picking any stitches up.
Right.
You're not rearranging a sock. You're doing it more traditionally. You don't have to rearrange the stitches on your sock, which can be confusing.
Yep.
It's a slightly quicker heel to knit. And I think it's more achievable for a new sock knitter.
That's great. Yeah.
If you prefer more traditional, then of course a heel flap gusset and a heel turn, that is more traditional. Yes. But I definitely think a short row heel and any short row heel. I'm not pushing the one in my pattern, like any short row heel. If it works for you, I think it's a little bit more beginner friendly with how it's knit, with the execution of knitting it.
The best tip is go check Denise's videos.
Oh, thank you. Thank you very, very much for that. Thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Just don't be afraid. Don't be afraid to knit. Don't be afraid to reach out to other knitters. There's times where I've seen knitters do something and I say, what is that? And people are almost surprised, like, well, don't you know? I'm like, I haven't seen everything. I don't know.
Exactly. You're learning all the time too.
All the time. Absolutely.
Isn't that one of the best things about knitting anyway? We can't know it all. We'll never know it all. And there's so much yet to be discovered.
That's one of the best things about life.
True that.
It's a constant process, constantly learning. If I could stay in school and just be a student the rest of my life.
Yes.
Happiest person in the world. That would be me.
For sure. That sounds really good. So you came out with one more step, which is inspired by the wonderful J.R.R.
Tolkien.
Yes. Thank you for that.
No worries.
Do you have any more patterns in the works, or are you in between, or do you have anything coming?
Maybe. I am working on 2 more.
Oh, wow.
And I feel like the process of working on one more step on that pattern, it released a lot of my fears with doing a slightly larger scale test knit, with putting a pattern in, worrying about the numbers all matching and working. So I feel like I've gotten over that fear now.
Right.
And one heel that I recently discovered was a garter stitch square heel.
Ooh, lovely. Ooh.
And
I like the sound of that.
fell totally in love with the way the garter stitch heel looked. It provides more of a cushion.
Yeah.
Especially when knitting with a yarn that has little nylon in it. The nature of the garter stitch gives you that extra cushion.
Yes, I love that.
And then the square heel just fits your foot. I mean, it creates that natural L.
Or cups your heel probably.
Exactly. Thank you. That is the perfect word. It perfectly cups your heel.
Yeah.
So, but the problem with a garter stitch heel is working out the percentage, because with a regular heel flap, usually your rows match your stitches.
Yes.
But a garter stitch by nature is stretchier, so you can't do that. So it's getting that percentage just right, because you're knitting fewer rows.
Right.
So that's what I've got in the works right now. And also a DK weight sock as well.
Ooh, yes, that sounds really good. Both of those sound good.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm intrigued by your garter stitch square heel. That sounds so scrumptious.
It is scrumptious. It really is. I'm sorry I didn't bring mine down, but it feels amazing on your foot.
Yeah,
it really does.
Yes, and for people who are a bit sensitive, it might actually feel better, because you're getting the V on your skin, actually, not the pearl bump.
Correct.
Yeah.
Correct.
Exactly. I know some people they don't like, they say they can't wear handmade or hand knitted socks because their feet are too sensitive, but actually, I wonder if you could knit the whole sole in garter stitch as well.
Of course.
Yeah. Yeah.
Depending on if you're knitting with, I knit with 2 circular needles. So on the sole, just knit and purl, just so keep the garter stitch on the bottom. Another thing that I've learned with working with 100% wool is how to reinforce the bottom.
Yeah.
So you can also put all slip stitches across the bottom of your sock.
Right. Because you are knitting, are you knitting a little bit more? You're knitting a little bit more with 100% wool these days, or because I know you love your indie dyed yarns, and who doesn't? I mean, all those colors are amazing, but I think there's a whole world of wool out there that is super interesting and fun to play with.
Very, very interesting. It's so fun, and there's so many different breeds of sheep.
Yep.
And the yarn all does slightly different things.
Yeah. And then if you blend that, even more.
Right. And you blend, there's blends and different things. I am very intrigued to use more 100% wool in my sock knitting. That makes my heart all happen to be the suppliers.
Yeah, that's kind of our thing, and we love that.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think I'm so grateful to you all, because what you're providing to the knitting world is so amazing. A lot of people can't get these yarns here in the US.
Yeah.
And even if they can find them out in the world, the shipping alone sometimes costs more than the yarn.
And the time, and things get lost. And we often have stuff that, bypasses some strange country on the way here. So it happens all the time. But we are very, very happy doing what we're doing, and love being able to get these yarns. And our customers seem to really love them too. So it's a win-win.
Absolutely. Absolutely a win-win. I mean, I'm grateful that you've made these yarns available. I've seen West Yorkshire spinners for years, and now I have some because of you all. So,
and that is a great sock yarn, by the way. West Yorkshire spinners, 25% nylon, so totally bulletproof. But
absolutely.
Yes, but soft as well, and they just came out with a bunch of new colors as well. So very exciting stuff. Well, Denise, thank you so much for your time. It's been a pleasure talking to you and catching up with you. And will we see you knitting along in the sprint, perhaps?
Of course, absolutely.
That would be great.
Absolutely, I can't wait.
Yeah, and definitely we'll put all your links underneath, and I just hope our customers will go check you out and find what a delight you are even more. And all your sock knitting expertise is perfect for everyone who's getting on the sock train, ready for the sock sprint. So thanks for being here. I'll talk to you again soon.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me. It was wonderful sitting here chatting with you. Thank you so much, Corrine.
Take care. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Hello, welcome to Yoga for Knitters. My name is Kim, and I'm a yoga teacher and a knitter based in central Alberta. I have an online and live yoga studio called turninggroundyoga.com, and you can find me on YouTube and Instagram and Facebook with Turning Ground Yoga. You'll notice I'm not in my indoor studio, and that's because today's class is all about the simplest, easiest way to reset your body so that you feel great and so that you can keep on knitting. It's the cross crawl. Donna Eden is probably the most famous advocate of the cross crawl, but she does say in her book, Energy Medicine, that the cross crawl is millions of years old. This is not new technology. And when I show it to you, you're gonna be like, oh yeah, I do that every day. Why is this such a big deal? The cross crawl is all about making the two hemispheres of our brain. Oh, a big butterfly just flew by. So beautiful. Maybe it'll fly in front of the camera later. There's butterflies all over the place here. I'm in my backyard. Anyway, the cross crawl is all about having the two hemispheres of your brain working at the same time. So we know that our right brain controls the left side of our body. Our left brain controls the right side of our body. And when we're knitting, we are using both of our hands, but we're using them differently. So in my case, I throw. So I'm holding the yarn or the fabric in one hand, and I'm moving the yarn with my other, and I'm always doing it the same way. So even though both of my hands are working, they're working in an uneven way. So the cross crawl will reset our energy to make sure that they're both running along the same correct pattern. Does that make sense? Hopefully it does. I'm going to show you what the cross crawl looks like now. So if you can't get out for a walk, this is the best way to reset your body by doing the cross crawl. All you do is simply raise your right leg and your left arm and back down. Left leg, right arm, and back down. So it's like an exaggerated march. When I do this, you can see that both sides get equal attention, both sides of your body and then both sides of your brain. And by doing this, just for a few minutes during your knitting break or before you start knitting, you're going to charge your energy, you're going to make it flow in the right direction, and your brain is going to be a little swifter as a result. So, cross crawl at home or cross crawl out in nature. Just go for a walk. Don't carry something in one hand. Go for a walk. We use one of those super trendy fanny packs. I'm joking because I don't really think they're that cool, but I do wear one. And go for a walk and swing your arms opposite your legs. And I promise you will feel so much better afterwards. Cross crawl. That's today's Yoga for Knitters. Thanks for spending time with me. I'll see you next time. Namaste.